Hey y'all, today I've got a Angus Trim arming sword with a homemade scabbard for it that I made. This is a very old Angus Trim arming sword. I really like the beautiful wood handle it has. So this sword has a 32-inch blade and it's a very light sword. This sword weighs less than 2 pounds. It weighs 1 pound and just under 15 ounces. 1 pound, 14.8 ounces or something like that. So this is a very light sword. I would call it a type 18 arming sword, I guess. I don't know. But you can see the blade is not a wide blade, okay? And a lot of people look at a blade like that and would judge its cutting power based on that. But you know, the thing you should know is that a sword doesn't have to be a thick, wide sword to be able to cut really, really well. And that you can't always judge a sword's cutting power or ability based purely off of the appearance of it. Because some swords that have narrow blades can still cut really, really well. That one worked out pretty good, and I've made double tatami mat cut rolls with this sword before. So, you know, it's pretty strong ability to cut. For sure, if I were going to a cutting competition to make the biggest, hardest cuts I could make, this would not be the sword that I would pick. But the point still stands that this sword is quite capable of delivering really strong cuts. Hey guys, so here you see me goof up this cut and I make it through one bottle but not the other and send it baseball batting. So one thing about swords that have narrower blades is they're more finicky in the cut, so they are less forgiving to user error. So you have to be much better in your technique with them to cut effectively with them than you would with a wider sort of blade that is easier to cut with. Like when you cut with a Principe, you can mess up a little bit with your blade angle, and it can be forgiving and still deliver you with a decent cut. But with narrower blades, you've got to really be spot on with that in order to make it. So, and here you see a perfect example of that. So this is really my fault, not the sword's fault. Really, really well. Let's see what we can do. Let's try a more upward angle. So swords don't have to be wide, big blades to have cutting power. It doesn't hurt. And swords like that generally do cut better. But a sword can still be relatively narrow and still have a relatively strong level of cutting ability. Definitely enough to take off somebody's hand or arm, or you know, a sword of this, if you think that they're just going to cut and deliver small cuts that, you know, wouldn't be lethal and they'd have to depend on the thrust, that's not true. This sword absolutely can deliver killing cuts with it. So just kind of keep that in mind when you're thinking about swords.